How did you use new media technologies in the construction and research, planning and the evaluation stages? When I was doing a mind map at the beginning of this project, I decided to use the program Microsoft Word, as I thought that this was an easier program to use, as I had understood it pretty well and I had used it more than a few times before. I had used the tools from the toolbar in Microsoft Word to create a mind map. I had also used the internet to look for information and images of the products that I would have to look at, as well as researching them thoroughly before I produced my own. I found that using Microsoft Word was a bit limiting, as I wanted to make the mind map look different and more interesting to look at. I thought that one of the advantages of using this program was that it had a lot of options, easy to use, and it had a range of box types and layout. I had felt that the disadvantages were that it was pretty basic, looked a bit too structured, the overall layout, and it only let the page either be landscape or portrait. I felt that it didn't really give that much of an option to create a mind map of ideas, but it was okay at this stage. I had used SLR cameras, microphones to record the audios, HD recorder sound effects, sites, Photoshop and Quark. I had used the SLR camera to take pictures of my stories in my newspaper, as well as the article always needs a photograph with a caption. I had used the microphones and HD recorders to record sounds when I am narrating or doing a radio trailer or having an interview. I had looked at sites like the A1 sound effects site to download free music from my radio trailer, as well as YouTube. I thought that one of the advantages of using Photoshop lets you be creative with your designs of the product. This program is really good for editing the photographs that you have taken by sharpening them and improving their contrast and overall brightness of the image. I thought that the disadvantage with using Photoshop was that it wasn't good for producing a newspaper, as it didn't have the options or any layouts to create that product. Quark is really good with creating pages for the magazine and newspapers. This program isn't designed to improve photographs or change their size. This is more of a straightforward program to use and write the text in, as well as rule of lines. It's really good with the layout of your product, and I think that this is a really good program for designing and creating a good structured project. I really think it's precise and correct measurements for the newspaper, like the gutter size ruler as a guide, toolbox and simple palette on the right hand side of the Quark document. For my newspaper, I used Photoshop Elements 5.2 to do the competition banner for my newspaper, as well as the masthead. I had created the masthead from my newspaper by using the toolbar in Photoshop. I had selected the text icon and typed the name of my masthead, e.g. the name of my newspaper. I had selected a suitable font to use, as well as the size of it, and I made sure that I had done it on the transparent background. I had been looking at the proper newspaper mastheads to get an idea what the masthead should look like, then I saved it as a GIF or a JPEG file. I had created the competition banner by selecting the size of the document. I had then imported a photograph from my files and I used that. I had then looked at the text icon and selected to use that, but before I had done that, I had selected another layer. I had selected the text font and the size, as well as adding a white outline around it, this made the image pop. This is really good as it grabs the reader's attention. Then I had saved this as a JPEG GIF and posted it on my blog. I had created the pages of my newspaper using Quark. I had done page 1, aka the front cover, and page 2 of my newspaper. I had used the ruler to make guidelines for my newspaper. I had also come up with an idea of my newspaper by looking at the layouts of the real one. I had used a toolbox to put some text boxes that are on the page, as well as image boxes on the page, so I could import photographs and mastheads and the competition banner to the Quark document. I had used the drawing tool to create rule of lines to separate one story, and this highlighted to the readers the end of one story and the start of another story. I had also used the text tool for the page numbers and web address and the phone number of the newspaper. I had also used a menu box to change the size of the text and the fonts. I had used this to complete page 1 and page 2 of my newspaper. I found it easy to use Croc and Photoshop as I had used these two programs when I had done my music magazine last year, so I found these programs very easy to use when I got the hang of them. I found it a little hard using the Audition program for my radio trailer as I never used this program before, as well as creating a radio trailer from scratch. I had found some of the programs friendly to use. I had enjoyed using those programs again. I found that this project is very interesting and I felt that it had fulfilled my skills as well as helping me develop other skills in this area. I can say that I enjoyed this project to the full extent.